Okay, so your child says something nasty to you. And let me guess, inside you are like, oh my gosh, you just said what? And you're probably fuming. I mean, literally, flames could be coming out of your nostrils. You are angry. Doesn't matter if you have a 4-year-old or you have a 14-year-old. Backtalk is frustrating. And so I want to make sure that you know how to handle backtalk so that it stops, so that way it doesn't keep happening. We tend to expect our children to obey us because we are adults or respect us because we are adults. And I think we've forgotten that they need communication back and forth. They need us to have this back and forth so that way they can learn how to, handle a situation where they're feeling probably unfairly treated. And typically, I find that's when backtalk happens. Backtalk happens when we feel like we are not being we're not being seen, we're not being heard for what we want, we're not being noticed, we're feeling like things are unfair. And I think about a toddler, like they're watching TV and then we say, okay, you need to get up and you need to clean up your toys right now. We're not considering them, we're not having consideration. And the same thing for a teen. They decide that they want to go play with their friends and you say, no, you need to clean your room first, and they're like, what the heck, like that's not fair, right? And so it's in these moments that the back talk starts coming and we're like, whoa, you can't treat me that way. But what we have to remember is that this is not the issue. The issue is not the back talk. There is a deeper rooted need that is not being met, and maybe it is consideration. And we got to understand what's going on for them. Why are they not feeling considered? Why are they feeling the need to back talk to us? And also, let's go back to this idea of modeling. Have we modeled the way to respond in a situation like this? And not just to our children, but to our spouse. I think that back talk a lot of times comes from how we interact with our spouse. And for me, when I interact with my spouse and I say something not nice and then a similar thing comes out of my daughter, I'm like, oh boy, I needed to model in that moment. I am feeling unfairly, judged, or I'm feeling, this situation is unfair to me. How can I interact in a way that's useful, right? Okay, let's start with the four things that I think are important to do when handling backtalk. So point number one is sportscasting. A lot of times I will say something like, did you just say blah, blah, blah? So like, did you just say, no, I don't want to? Is that what you just said to me? And I try to do it as unjudgmentally as possible, and it's really hard. Trust me, it's very hard. But if you can try your best to say, probably in a tone really matters here, something like, did you just say that no, you didn't want to? And they're going to be like, huh? What? They're expecting the judgment, and they're expecting that judgment, and they're ready to come back with that fight or flight. And so don't be surprised if they still come back with another, fight here, because they're not used to you having patience and consideration for what is going on for them. The second thing that I am going to try to identify is what they're feeling. So you can do this again with toddlers. You can do this with older children. With toddlers, I do have my safe space posters, which the link is in the description, so you can download that and help your child understand what they're feeling. But I want to understand, why did you just backtalk to me? What are you feeling? What's going on for you? And so typically I, experience children saying something like, I was feeling frustrated, or I was feeling angry, or I was, feeling these I was feeling sad. And I want to go deeper. Okay. I was feeling frustrated because you told me I had to pick up my toys right now, and I wanted to keep watching TV. Right. And then the next step is, identifying a need for our child. So let's identify what they are needing so that way we can get that need met. So maybe an older child is needing consideration, and maybe even a toddler. Maybe our expectation in that moment, we were not, paying attention to the circumstances, and we didn't even really think to ourselves like, oh, I'm expecting my child to do something while they're watching TV, and I should be more considerate and have said like, yeah, after your movie, can you pick up these blocks for me? Or, for a younger child, it's less of a question and more of, after the movie, I need you to pick up the blocks. And when we are able to kind of adjust our own expectations, like, oh, okay, wait, hey, hang on here. I was the one that was expecting a little bit too much. We can then realize most likely that our child did feel like they were unfairly treated. Let's go to an older child again. Let's say that they come to us and they say, hey, I really want to go to my friend's house. And we say, no, not until your room's cleaned. They're like, whoa, hey, defenses, like, I didn't even know I needed my room clean before this point, And so it's not saying that you can't hold that boundary for, I need you to have your room cleaned. Rather, it's coming in collaboration with them and saying, yeah, I would love for you to go hang out with your friends tonight. I just need you to clean your room before you head out. And it's that communication, how we're communicating with them. Now, let's just say, though, that they still are, oh, well, that wasn't fair. I want to go now. I didn't want to have to wait. And maybe saying something like, how could we compromise on this? Is there a way we could compromise? And typically, especially an older child, you start asking them questions like that. They're like, oh, that they kind of simmer down, and you're like, yeah, I would love to collaborate with you and figure out a way that we can make this work. And maybe they say, yeah, I don't mind, making my bed right now and cleaning up the bathroom, but can I clean my room when I get back home? And yeah, sure, that works out great. And they're more likely to respect that and want to do that for you because you guys are coming in collaboration with each other. And that is a huge part of, for me, communication with teaching our child, how to make those compromises. We can't expect a child to compromise for us always when we're also not willing to compromise with them. So again, we're looking inwards into ourselves. The last part here is we want to make a plan. We need to make a plan of what our child can and should be doing for the future. So let's say that, okay, let's give the example again of a toddler here who is feeling, unfairly, treated because they were watching a movie and they don't want to pick up their blocks right now. You could say to them, oh man, I didn't even realize that you were watching a movie. You finish your movie and then I need you to, pick up your blocks. And then after the event has happened, so let's let the event happen. Let's find a time when they're totally calm and not in the fight or flight. And let's have this conversation about what can we do next time. And this right here is critical. It's crucial. And letting your child know, I did not like how you said X to me. I did not like how you, treated me. I felt disrespected and I was needing you to hear me, or I was needing to feel heard. And from there, it's allowing yourself and allowing your child to have this moment of being able to figure out what they could do differently next time, instead of just punishing them and saying, no, you're not ever going to watch TV again for the next 3 days because you did not pick up your blocks when I told you to. Let's give them the tools of what to do. Let's tell them, so next time when you are feeling really frustrated, you're feeling unfairly treated, can you say something like, can we talk about this? And granted, the next time they do it, you're probably going to have to go through this thing all over again. And that's okay. It's okay to have to go through things multiple times. They are learning. You're going to start seeing these small, tiny shifts happening. And before you know it, they are going to start asking you when they feel unfairly treated. Can we talk about this? So yeah, I hope that this was helpful. I hope that it encouraged you and gave you some tools and some guides in how you can handle backtalk.